Hey folks, welcome back to Only the Best Fantasy Novels. My name is Robin, and today I want to talk about Sharp Ends by Joe Abercrombie. And this is the collection of shorts surrounding his whole First Law setting. It's 13 stories, and they range, in terms of chronology, they range from stories that occur well before the events of the Blade itself, right through to roughly the start of Red Country. So it is very much a collection that ideally you read after Red Country, just avoid spoilers and that kind of stuff, or anything remotely close to that. And the stories in here, they vary in length, they vary in focus, they vary in terms of objective. For the most part, they range everywhere from giving us like just alternate viewpoints of certain events, or giving us a look at certain historically like things that were alluded to, and giving us a different view of characters and these kind of things. We do also get some other things that we get are just like looks at characters who may or may not be fan favorites, like what they were up to at different points in time, like what a character from the First Law trilogy may have been doing during the events of the heroes, for example. Things like that, like just short, fascinating stories. There's even one that is essentially the writing of a writer within the First Law world, and like these stories, they range everywhere they have a pretty wide range in terms of quality. Obviously, some are much better than others. Some are like vignettes, some are probably like little snippets that probably got left out in the editing and these kind of things. Whatever. Like they're pretty okay stories for the most part. Aside from those, like that have ties to the First Law and the Great Leveler trilogies, they do also contain a few stories that feature an entirely new pair of characters, and over the course of their stories, we kind of have a timeline of adventures that they go on. And these stories, I do remember them being mentioned as they were published. Like Joe primarily wrote them to contribute to different anthologies and these kind of things. So it is nice to get all of them in one place. And not just have all of them in one place, but have them in such a way that you can kind of see the complete arc of their story. So that's kind of what is contained within Sharp Ends. And in terms of what like the book actually does, it has most of Joe Abercrombie's strengths, I would say. Like his, obviously because these are very short, not too much time is spent on it, but his characterization is still absolutely top tier, especially with the new characters that we see, and even more so with the stories that are a bit lengthier, where he has more room to play with. These stories range everywhere from the humorous to the absurd to a little more dry, and then there's some that are just straight up portentous. Like in one particular case, we get a look at a particular character, a very big fan favorite, at what he was like before the events of the First Law trilogy. And why that is very significant is because we get to see him before a particular event that results in him being a very different person and becoming the person that we see in the First Law trilogy. So that bites. I think that story alone for me made this entire collection worth reading. Overall, what do I think of the stories? They're not the best, they're not the worst. Like anthologies are generally just hit and miss for me. Like I am not too much of a fan of short stories personally. But these stories, like they do serve a purpose. They are added material. They're not necessary to read. They're just fun. And as a huge fan of Joe Abercrombie, there was no way I was skipping this. So, not the best, not the worst, an okay read. Especially if like a completionist and that kind of thing. What else is there to say, really? Yeah, that I think that's really all I have to say about Sharp Ends. So I guess this will be a very short video. Yeah, if you've made it this far into the video, thank you for watching, I guess, and I'll see you next time.